Welcome and greetings to all. I am Shenlong Pendragon, the Lore Master. As always, a quick disclaimer. Following is a non-profit video. I do not own any of the images or the story in this video. The credit for these all belong to their original sources. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining today on part 3 of the Catholic Military Orders series. I want to apologize as well for my absence over the past year and a bit. I'd like to just take a moment to explain where I've been and why there's been a lack of content. So, as many of you may know, I've been doing my PhD studies in Japan, and over the last year and a bit, I've been getting pretty overwhelmed with the PhD itself, and it was a very, very difficult, very stressful time. And yeah, I really had absolutely no time to focus on anything else whatsoever. I mean, I didn't even get to go home last Christmas to see my family because I was so busy working, unfortunately. But now that essentially the end is in sight and I've actually managed to achieve getting the PhD and it's now finished, I should hopefully be able to upload a few more videos for you. I do have to say that content for the next couple of months will be a little slow because I've still got some projects to wrap up here before I leave Japan to go home. But yeah, essentially that's where I've been. I've been working on my PhD, but thankfully that's now done. So hopefully I can get back to bring some more videos for you guys. So this is part 3 of the Knight series. Last time we talked about the Knights Hospitalier, shown by the white cross on black background, and the first part was the Knights Templar, which is just appearing on screen now, which is the red cross on the white background. So today I'm going to be talking about the order who's being shown in the middle here, the black cross on the white background. This is representing the Teutonic Knights. So the Teutonic Knights are arguably the third most famous of the 5 original Catholic military orders. And as said earlier, they are most well known by the black cross on a white background. This Knight's Order essentially does still exist today, much like with the Hospitaliers, though some of the names have changed and they have now select different branches. What I'm going to do in this video is, as before, give a relatively short summary of their history, some of the key events they've been involved in, and essentially where they are now. The Teutonic Knights, or the Order of Brothers of the German House of St. Mary in Jerusalem, was formed in the city of Acre in the Kingdom of Jerusalem in 1191 AD. So here we see 2 crests representing the order, as indicated by the black cross on white background. One on the left has 2 crossed swords, indicating that they were a military order. The one on the right, you can see in the center, is the German Black Eagle. So this indicates their connection to Germany and specifically to the Holy Roman Empire, which I will talk about in a little bit. The order was formed following the capture of the city of Acre by German merchants from Bremen and Liebech. They took over a hospital within the city walls with the aim of caring for the sick, and took the name the Hospital of St. Mary of the German House in Jerusalem. To this day, the remains of the original hospital still stands, as shown by this photograph here. The origins of the Knights Tudor predates the formation of the hospital in the city of Acre. In 1143, Pope Celestine II, shown here on the left, ordered the Knights Hospitalier to take over the German hospital which already existed. However, he decreed that the prior should always be German themselves. And if you remember from the Hospitalier video, bulk of the Hospitalier Knights at this time were French. Because of this decree, it opened a window to allow the Teutonic Order to develop during the 12th century. During the Siege of Acre, the Hospital of St. Mary of the German House was actually established initially as a field hospital with the aim of battlefield medication and care. Pope Celestine III, who is actually shown in the previous images, specifically on the right if you want to go back and look, gave the order recognition in 1192, granting them Augustine rule. This allowed them to transition into a military order in 1198, with its first Grand Master receiving papal orders to go on crusade and retake the city of Jerusalem for Christianity and to preserve Christian interests within the region. In 1220, the order purchased Montfort Castle, shown in the image in the top left. This is located to the northeast of the city of Acre, both shown in the map in the bottom right. This castle was made the seat of the Grand Master in 1229. The castle itself was considered to be strategically important as it protected the route from the Mediterranean to the city of Jerusalem. However, the castle was lost in 1271, forcing the order to return to Acre. However, they were then later donated land in the Holy Roman Empire, modern-day Greece and Turkey, along with the Kingdom of Jerusalem. Between the years 1209 and 1239, the Grand Master of the Knights Teutonic was Hermann von Salza, shown here on the right, and he was a close personal friend of the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick II, shown here on the left. Their friendship allowed the Grand Master to be elevated to the rank of Reichsfürst, or Prince of the Empire. And during Frederick's coronation as the King of Jerusalem in 1225, it was the order that acted as his honor guard. Frederick was able to become the King of Jerusalem by marrying Princess Isabella II of Jerusalem and deposing her father, King John of Brienne. He would then later take part in the Sixth Crusade, which actually managed to negotiate the surrender of the city of Jerusalem in 1229, with minimal fighting. This was because the crusading army was only a shadow of what had been expected, and the Sultan of the time, Sultan al-Kamil, was busy fighting a civil war in modern-day Syria. With neither side having a strong position for a long drawn-out campaign, they both decided to sign the Treaty of Jaffa, which stated that there would be a 10-year truce and that most of the city of Jerusalem would fall under Christian control, along with a narrow corridor connecting the city to the Mediterranean. Returning now to Europe, in 1211, King Andrew II of Hungary granted the Teutonic Knights the district of Burzenland in Transylvania within modern-day Romania. Please bear in mind here that Romania did not exist as a single united country at this time, and was instead made up of different states, some of which were under the control of the Kingdom of Hungary, which was later separated into separate states itself. The reason for this land being granted to the knights was because the Kingdom of Hungary was coming under threat from a nomadic Turkish people known as the Cumans. And by 1220, the knights had managed to push into and occupy territories controlled by the Cumans. This is located to the southeast of the Kingdom of Hungary. This military success led to jealousy, resentment, and suspicion among the Hungarian nobility. This especially spiked after the order refused to share or cede any lands to the Hungarian nobility. After the Fifth Crusade, the nobles demanded that King Andrew cancel the concessions that had been made with the knights. He concluded that the agreement should be revised, but he refused to cancel any concessions at that time. In 1224, the Teutonic Knights foresaw that Crown Prince Bela would cause them issues when he took the Hungarian throne. So they petitioned Pope Honoris III so that they would be placed directly under the authority of the Papal See, rather than that of the King of Hungary. This greatly angered King Andrew, and he expelled the knights from his lands, worried by their growing power. However, without the knights, the Cumans would once again become a significant threat. 2 years later, in 1226, Conrad I, Duke Mazoria in northeast Poland, appealed to the knights to come and defend his borders and subdue the pagan Baltic Old Prussians, allowing the Teutonic Knights the use of Chełmno in central Poland as a base of operations. Grand Master Hermann von Salza considered the campaign as a good training exercise for his knights in preparation for future crusades against the Muslims in Outremer. In other words, they were preparing to attempt to retake the Holy Land. Emperor Frederick II then issued a decree called the Golden Bull of Rimini. This granted the Knights Teutonic the right of conquest and possession of Prussia, including Chełmno, along with nominal papal sovereignty. Essentially, this allowed the Teutonic Knights to take and possess land as they willed, and then claim sovereignty over those lands with papal authority. In 1235, the Teutonic Knights then assimilated the smaller order of Dorburzen. So obviously we see here a map showing the areas of Northern Europe and specifically focusing in on the territories under the control of the state of the Teutonic Order from 1260 to 1410. So after the Christianizing of Lithuania, the order stopped crusading and instead focused on recruiting, primarily from the Holy Roman Empire, in order to augment its feudal levies. And although the crusade had stopped, there were still ongoing wars against the Kingdom of Poland and the Grand Duchy of Lithuania, along with the Novgorod Republic in modern-day Finland and northwest Russia. During this time, the Order state attempted to build up its economic power base through its port cities by primarily trading with the Hanseatic League, which was a commercial and defensive network of merchant guilds and market towns in Central and Northern Europe, primarily within northern Germany. In 1410, a Polish-Lithuanian army achieved a decisive victory over the Order state, breaking its military power at the Battle of Grunwald. However, the Order managed to defend its capital in the following siege of Marienburg or Malbork Castle, shown here in this painting. This castle is located in modern-day Poland. So previously I showed a painting of the battle at the castle, and here I'm showing a photograph of the castle in the modern day. So as you can see, it still stands even to this day and can actually be visited as a historical site. In 1515, the Holy Roman Emperor Maximilian I, shown here on the left, made a marriage alliance with Sigismund I of Poland and Lithuania, shown here on the left. Because of this alliance, the Empire did not support the order during its military campaign against Poland. 10 years later, in 1525, due to the lack of military success against Poland and Lithuania, Grand Master Albert of Badenburg resigned his position and instead converted to Lutheranism, which is a major branch of Protestantism. This allowed him to become the Duke of Prussia, which saw him becoming a vassal of Poland. With the loss and then conversion of its former Grand Master, this resulted in the order losing Livonia and its holdings in the Protestant areas of Germany. However, it maintained control over its holdings in the Catholic areas of Germany until 1809, when Napoleon Bonaparte ordered the dissolution of the order, causing the loss of its last secular holdings. Despite its dissolution, the order continued on as a charitable and ceremonial organization until it was eventually outlawed just prior to the outbreak of the Second World War in 1938 by he who must not be named, shall we say. After the end of the Second World War in 1945, now that he who must not be named and his regime were no longer in control of Germany, the order was re-established, and to this day it retains its original name. Of course, as I said earlier, they're famous for wearing white surcoats with the black cross, as shown in these images here. This emblem was actually then later used as a military decoration and as an insignia by the Kingdom of Prussia and by Germany, with its use as the Iron Cross Medal Award. The actual motto of the order was Helfen, Quellen, Healen, or Help, Defend, Heal. To this day, the order actually still confers limited honorary knighthoods. At the time of this video, the current Grand Master of the Knights Teutonic is Abbot Frank Bayard, the 66th of the title. His predecessor was Bruno Platter, with Bayard being elected on the 22nd of August 2018. The modern branches of the Teutonic Knights include the secular Teutonic Order, who primarily focus on charity with a similar organization structure to the Knights of Malta, with their members consisting of knights, dames, and lay members. The second modern branch is the Protestant Bailiwick of Utrecht, which primarily focuses on charity and, of course, its ceremonial knights. The third branch is the Clerical Teutonic Order, who is the primary religious branch of the modern order. The fourth is the Imperial Teutonic Order. This focuses on the chivalric side, or honouring of the traditions and ethical behaviour and community service of the order. And of course they have several other more minor branches that the list goes on. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to end the video here in terms of the Teutonic Knights. Thank you for joining me for the third installment in this series. Of course, there is a lot more to the history of the Teutonic Knights. This was actually a pretty short summary of their history, despite the fact I've been going on now for nearly 20 minutes. I could have gone a lot more into the conflicts and their wars and campaigns within Europe. And if that is something you would like me to do, then please give a comment down in the comment section, and I will probably add that into the historical battles series. of which I will definitely do more videos on at some point in the future. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to sign off now, and once again, thank you very much for listening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, then please like and subscribe for more lore, myths, legends, and stories. I am Shenlong Pendragon, and until next time, knowledge is power.